A new breed of solopreneurs are building seven-figure empires in their sleep. And the reality is that very soon AI will make it possible for one single person to build a billion-dollar company by themselves. And that is actually coming directly from the words of Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, or as most of us know it, simply ChatGPT. You don't need a team, a warehouse, or a massive budget. You need an invisible system that works while you're at the gym or out to lunch or sleeping. So today I'm handing you a 5-phase framework along with the tools necessary to build a 6-figure solo business from scratch in 2026. And make sure to not skip ahead, because if you miss one of these phases, the rest are gonna phase out of existence. No employees, no coding, and zero excuses. Let's get to it. All right, we're starting with phase 1, the strategy and identity. Most dropshippers fail because they approach the business like a gambler. And I've said this before. They scroll through TikTok for hours, find a product that's already gone viral, and then they wonder why their ads aren't working or they're not converting. By the time that you see a product trending on your feed, the profit margins are already gone and the competition has started to move in. In 2026, the real winners don't sell products. They sell philosophies. They sell ideas. We're looking for a painful problem that real people will pay to solve. To start this process, we use ChatGPT, or we can use Google Gemini if we prefer. That's what I've been using more lately, to act as our business strategist. Now, I'm just not gonna ask it for a list of ideas like everyone else does. It's gonna give me some very generic crap. Instead, I tell the AI to interview me. I use a prompt that says something like, ask as many questions as you need to learn about my skill set before giving me recommendations, something along those lines, something where the AI can actually learn from you. We want to find a high-ticket, automation-heavy niche where the AI can really do all of the heavy lifting for us. Think about products like grounding mats for wellness enthusiasts, or self-stirring mugs for, busy professionals, people who are making their coffee in their desks. These, they solve a specific problem, or they solve a recurring pain point. Now, once we have our niche, we need a brand identity that sticks. Look, humans don't fall in love with faceless products. They fall in love with stories and with feelings. And for this, we're going to use the Build Your Store AI name generator to find a brand name that feels like a venture-backed startup and not like a cheap storefront that you find in the corner of whatever street. This tool uses e-commerce psychology to ensure that your brand has staying power from day one. And finally, we validate everything with Gemini deep research, and this is critical. While other entrepreneurs are doing a basic 5-minute search, whether by themselves or using ChatGPT, Gemini is going to spend 10 to 15 minutes or maybe even more scanning over 300 websites to build you a multiple page competitive overview. We dropped that research into Notebook LM, which we're also going to be using to create a briefing document that gives us the market size and the potential earnings. This is how you catch a trend before the rest of the world even knows it exists. Now, the last step in phase 1 is really going to be something that's very, very, very simple. And that's going to be to make sure that you subscribe to this channel and make sure you leave a like and click that little bell notification so you don't miss out on any future content or any breaking news in the dropshipping or e-commerce industry, and always stay up to date with the latest and top strategies. All right, let's continue. All right, next up at phase 2, the deployment and the store builder. Now, we need to build essentially the home for our business. The biggest barrier for most entrepreneurs here used to be the technical setup. People would spend months, and when I talk about months, I mean seriously months, trying to figure out how to build a website, only to launch a store that looked crappy. I mean, that's really all I can say, with really barely any products and barely any visitors. In 2026, we don't build stores, we deploy them. We use the AutoDS AI store builder for this. This is a complete game changer because all you literally need to do is sign on to AutoDS and click on the AI store builder option. Choose your niche and set up a Shopify account. And within minutes, it creates your entire Shopify store from scratch. But it also goes a bit further. It doesn't just give you an editable template that you can essentially cater to your needs or to your vision. It populates your store with winning and handpicked products in the niche that you chose that are already vetted by expert dropshippers with years of experience. So they know what they're looking for. This is what we call the logic handoff. While other people are fighting with color codes and font sizes, you already are live with a functional storefront that's connected to a global supply chain. Look, I say this personally. I used to spend hours just looking for the right color combination. It was so much time wasted. Like, it's insane. It pains me to even think about it. Why was I messing with the most minor of details? Well, simply put, because I had no idea what I was doing. That's why. But even with an AI-built store, you need to manage it effectively. This is where Shopify Copilot comes in. Think of Copilot as your AI data scientist that lives inside your Shopify dashboard. They know everything that's going on in your store. One day, you notice that your sales are dropping on a random Tuesday. You don't have to do research and figure out why or guess why this is happening anymore, or assume. Remember, when you assume things, you make an ass out of you and me. Have you ever heard that reference before? Probably not. Let me know down in the comments below if you have. Anyway, you ask Copilot to pull the real-time data from your store. It's going to analyze the bottleneck and explain exactly where you're losing customers. And then it'll hand you a pretty much step-by-step game plan on how to fix it. Now, this enables just that one person that's literally just sitting on their couch with their laptop to run a business with the same operational intelligence as a team of 10 employees. Your data scientist or data architect or engineer or whatever you want to call it is now built into your platform for free. You're the boss and the AI is your executive suite, your executive assistant, handling all the technical things that you don't want to do or simply just don't know how to do, so you can focus on the creative strategy. All right, on to phase 3, the creative edge and UGC. This is imperative. In 2026, if you're using generic supplier photos, you have already lost the game. Everyone knows that you're using a supplier or that you're getting it from some random person in China, if that's the case. You need a brand that people are willing to pay extra for, and that requires high-end visuals that build immediate trust. Now, luckily, inside the AutoDS system, we have a built-in AI image generator that's actually built for this specific purpose. When you import a product, you don't need to hire a photographer or wait weeks for samples to arrive in the mail. You use the internal AutoDS image generator, which is actually powered by Nano Banana, and it's trained to be specific for e-commerce and dropshipping to create professional lifestyle images in literally just a few seconds. You can ask it to take a boring product photo and place it in a luxury setting, or you can even create AI avatars that are actually wearing or interacting with your product. Or to make things even more fun, you can generate things like pets wearing, a collar, an LED collar, or using the toy that you're selling. But static images are just the beginning of your marketing. For branding and for your high converting ads, we always recommend using Create UGC. This platform allows you to generate AI-driven video content that looks and feels like a real person is reviewing, holding, and using your product. And the best part is that all you need is a link to your product and to choose the avatar that's using it. That's literally it. Create UGC will create the script and everything for you. You can edit it if you want, but you don't need to. No prompting at all is required on your end. Now in 2026, user-generated content is the king of trust. People don't want to be sold by a corporation. They want to see the actual products being talked about in hand or even in action. By using Create UGC, you're building that emotional connection with your audience without ever having to step in front of a camera yourself. You are now the director of your own digital studio, creating professional videos and image content at a scale that was literally impossible just 2 years ago. You aren't selling just a product anymore. You're selling a feeling and a story that your customers want to be a part of. Now, this creative advantage is what allows a solo entrepreneur to really compete with massive brands. All right, phase 4, the invisible infrastructure. Now, this is where it gets interesting. This is the moment where most beginners actually start to break. They get their first few sales, they get excited, and then they get completely overwhelmed by the manual work of order fulfillment. And then they quit because there's a lot of errors and they just can't handle it. They realize that running a store is actually a lot of boring administrative work. And this is why we treat AutoDS as our invisible infrastructure, not just a tool. It is the operating system that runs the business while you're sleeping or while you're away. First, we have multi-channel support. So whether you want to sell on Shopify solely, or if you also want to be selling on eBay, Amazon, or Etsy, or even TikTok Shop, AutoDS handles the automation across all of them. But the real magic is the fulfillment autopilot. The second the customer hits buy on your store, AutoDS is going to take over. It's going to pay the supplier, it's going to handle the tracking information, and it's going to keep your customer updated throughout the entire process. It's going to give them automated tracking updates, all while you're literally doing something else, whatever it may be. Looking for more products, chilling at the beach, taking a nap, playing some video games, whatever you want to be doing. Then there's a safety net of automated price and inventory monitoring. If a supplier raises their prices or if they simply just go out of stock, AutoDS is going to update your store instantly so you never lose money on a sale or disappoint a customer with an item that you can't ship. We also have access to the AutoDS private supplier network. This allows you to ship products from local warehouses with some pretty fast shipping speed and guaranteed quality for the products. That way, you're not stuck waiting 2 or 3 weeks for AliExpress products. This infrastructure is what makes the one-person billion-dollar company actually possible. It removes the heavy lifting of shipping, inventory, and fulfillment so you can stay focused on the big picture. You stay above the system, directing, approving, and letting the AI work for you. Now, phase 5, the math of $1 million. So let's talk about the bank account reality, because once you see the numbers, $1 million business stops being that dream that you're chasing, and it actually becomes a legitimate target. Now, to hit a $1 million revenue goal in your e-commerce store, you need to average to about $2,777 every single day in sales. Now, that might seem like a lot. Trust me, I know it does sound like a lot, but let's look at how that exactly breaks down with physical products. If you're selling a high perceived value item, like take for example, this grounding mat, depending on how you market it, you can sell it for anywhere from $70 to $100. If you source that same mat through AutoDS, you're going to be paying about $20 to $35. So you have some pretty big profit margins. If you market your brand as a premium wellness solution and sell a mat for $100, you only need 28 sales a day to hit that $1 million revenue target. Now, even at a lower price point, right? So take, for example, you're selling it at $70, which is still pretty high. You only need 40 sales a day to reach that goal. With a profit of up to $65 per unit, you're looking at a business that generates over $5,000 in profit every single week with just a handful of daily orders. Now, to get those 40 daily sales, we use a two-pronged AI marketing strategy. First, we use the meta ad library to find what's already working for our competitors. And another option we have within the AutoDS system is TikTok Trends and Analytics page. On there, you can find everything that's trending on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. So you can see what ads are actually running and what ads are actually performing on there. It's a nice alternative to the Facebook Meta Ads platform that gives you a lot more detail and a lot more options. So we use that to see what's already working for our competitors, and then we use the internal AutoDS AI image generator in combination with Create UGC to recreate those winning formats for our own brand or our own store. Second, we focus on the distribution. You don't need a massive brand or budget to start. You just need to get the products in front of the right people. You start by aiming for, let's say, 10 visitors a day, then 50, then 500, as you start to optimize your ads or your content. The AI revolution isn't coming, it's already here. And it has made the barrier to entry lower than it has ever been in human history to start a business. You can start this entire process today for less than literally $100. And this video will walk you through exactly how you can get everything started and the ball rolling with the AutoDS AI Store Builder and go live in just a few minutes. So make sure you check that one out next.